Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're tearing down a pretty wild case study. We're talking about someone who decided to build a $10,000 a month recurring revenue stream from absolute scratch. The catch? They relied entirely on artificial intelligence, and they gave themselves literally just 1 week to pull it off. We're going to deconstruct this 7-day raw results experiment so you can see exactly how the mechanics of this actually work.
Our source material kicks things off with a quote that cuts right to the chase. Everyone is talking about AI, but hardly anyone is showing you the bank account. Look, let's be real for a second. We're all kind of exhausted by AI theory, right? There's absolutely no shortage of gurus out there promising you the moon and throwing around all the right buzzwords, but they totally lack actual proof. Well, this source completely calls that out. It challenges all that endless speculation by demanding cold, hard financial evidence.
And that financial evidence is anchored by one very specific, incredibly impressive number. 10 grand, $10,000 a month. The case study zeroes in on this exact goal because honestly, for most of us, $10K a month is that magic tipping point. It's the widely accepted benchmark to replace a full-time corporate salary and actually achieve true financial independence. So this isn't just about hustling for a quick $100 on the side. We're talking about engineering a formidable, life-changing income stream. Setting these high stakes right from day one just proves we aren't just playing around with chatbots here. We're aiming to build a substantial, legitimate business.
But hitting that revenue goal, that's really only half the story. The entire business was built in just 7 days. 7! That fast-paced urgency is exactly what makes this whole thing so compelling. I mean, think about it. In the time it takes most people to just, brainstorm a logo or agonizingly pick a domain name, this entire service business was conceptualized, launched, and fully operational. A tight timeline like that forces extreme efficiency. It totally eliminates that perfectionism that usually paralyzes us when we're trying to start something new. It really comes down to this core conflict. On one side, you've got the AI hype. All talk, all theory, those endless philosophical debates about what tech might do in 5 years. But on the flip side, you've got the experiment reality, the actual bank account and the raw results. This comparison just cuts right through all the noise. It forces us to take a step back and ask, are we just endlessly scrolling and consuming content about AI, or are we actively using it to generate a real, tangible income today?
All right, let's dive into the setup. Zero cost, zero experience, building the experiment's foundation. Now, the constraints of this experiment are honestly fascinating, mostly because this is where every single one of our usual excuses just completely falls apart. First up, they used nothing but free AI tools. We're talking about jumping on the free tiers of platforms like ChatGPT or Claude, totally bypassing the need for huge startup capital or crazy expensive software subscriptions. Second, it was built entirely from scratch. No pre-existing audience, no massive email list, no warm leads, nothing. And finally, no qualifications needed and no degree required. The creator deliberately took a path that didn't rely on years of networking or some fancy university training. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur watching this explainer, these constraints should feel incredibly empowering. The barrier to entry has literally hit zero. You don't need a bank loan and you don't need a diploma. The only thing separating you from executing this exact same case study is simply deciding to leverage the free tech that's already sitting right there in your browser.
So if you've got zero capital and zero experience, who is actually doing the work? Let's get into the execution. AI as the employee. The entire operational life cycle of this business was handed over to artificial intelligence. It functionally became a whole suite of employees. Just look at how they split up the responsibilities. Number 1, client outreach. Instead of a human agonizing for hours over cold emails, the AI was fed parameters about the target audience. Then it scraped data, drafted highly personalized pitch emails, and even whipped up follow-up sequences. It acted as a tireless sales rep. Number 2, service fulfillment. When a client actually said yes, the AI stepped right in to do the heavy lifting of the work they paid for. It processed the raw data and generated the final product. And number 3, accounting. Even the administrative backend was automated. AI tools were drafting invoices, categorizing expenses, and tracking profit margins. The AI is literally wearing all 3 hats. It's your marketing department, your product team, and your finance department all running at the exact same time for zero cost. Crazy, right?
To really ground these abstract concepts, our source gives us some explicit, super practical service businesses that fit this AI employee model perfectly, specifically copywriting and SEO auditing.
Why these two? Well, they're highly sought-after digital services where the core deliverable is essentially text and data analysis. And guess what? That is exactly what large language models excel at. Let's take an SEO audit, for example. Instead of a human spending 10 grueling hours manually reviewing a client's website architecture and keyword density, you feed the site's data into the AI, and it instantly spits out a comprehensive, structured report detailing exactly how to improve their search engine rankings. By naming these specific avenues, the source gives you a concrete blueprint. You aren't pitching vague AI services, you are selling clear, highly valuable business solutions that are completely fulfilled in the background by your digital employee.
Let's move to the takeaway, the raw results philosophy, and what this actually means for beginners.
So a raw results experiment is defined as using available tools to take immediate action and prove exactly what is actually possible for a beginner, bypassing theory entirely. I really want you to treat this like a formal business concept. Look, in a world where tech evolves literally every single week, waiting around until you feel ready or qualified is just a losing game. The landscape is going to change by the time you finish studying it. Running a raw results experiment is the ultimate proof of concept. It forces a fundamental psychological shift. It moves your mindset from passive learning, reading just one more article or watching one more tutorial, to active doing. It proves that momentum and the raw data you get from taking action are infinitely more valuable than just sitting on the sidelines debating the theoretical limits of a chatbot. Which brings us to the big question. If free tools can build a business in 7 days, what is stopping you? This perfectly encapsulates the massive push for action that runs through our entire source material today. The blueprint is right there, the tools are completely free, and the timeline is incredibly short. All those traditional barriers to entrepreneurship, they've been systematically wiped out. Literally, the only variable left in this experiment is you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you energized and ready to go launch your very own raw results experiment. Catch you next time.